Today, for the very first time, we have a really awesome, unique audio opportunity. So I'm not going to say we're listening to an album. I don't know how much of this we're going to be listening to, but I have my friend Chris here, this way, and we are going to check out the new Peter Gabriel album, some of it at least. And yeah, that's what you can look forward to in this video. So I don't think we don't need to do any other part. We're pretty much going. Onward we go. So first thing I want to say right away, get out of the way. I got my water here, and I've had an empty cup for a while. Chris and I just got done recording a Spirit Box reaction, listening to their EP, so go check that out if you're interested in that. Also, I have to say, this is the kind of thing I would normally do with my cousin Cody, because we do all the like crazy 80s synth poppy type stuff. He's here with me when we do this kind of thing. But Chris is here because you are the person that like woke me up to this album just a week ago, I think.
Yep, last week. I was in the car on my way to Omaha from Denver with a friend of mine, and it came on in her shuffle, and I was like, well, this is exquisite. And then I looked into it a little bit further, and it seems like it's going to be a really interesting thing that's happening. Yeah,
it was very funny. You sent me You sent me a link to just a single song, and it was a YouTube Music link. And I was on my phone, and my thought is always, oh no, Chris Parker sent me something new. It's probably this amazing song that I'll love so much, and it's either from 2017, which means I don't care about it anymore, or it's this amazing song from this guy who makes electronic music online and will never release an album in his entire life, or it's a remix of some amazing thing, and so it's not a representation of the artist at all, or whatever.
Is this something that happens to you because
every
it's
time
from
you send
me?
a link? Yes.
That's
every
funny.
time you send a link.
Okay.
But inevitably, I always click on the link and I'm like, damn, this is really awesome.
That's right.
And then I go look them up and they don't have an album released. And so I'll add the artist to my thing. And then at the end of the year, I usually go back and look, and what do you know? They released an album because they were releasing singles. But, oh, that reminds me. Have you checked out the new Set It Off album?
I think I saw that there was one, but I don't think I've done anything with it.
Because they were your number one album 2 years ago.
Last year.
Last year?
I'm pretty sure it had to be last year.
Oh, maybe then it's just a deluxe edition of their
Yeah, and that might be
year.
why I didn't immediately engage with it, because it's something...
I thought it was anyway, sorry, that was my brain going squirrel, you know.
No, I got you. I'm going to look at what it is right now.
Yeah, look it up, and while you're looking it up, I want to finish my story. So you sent me the link, and I was like, okay, I'll click on the link. And so I clicked on it, and I was just listening on my phone, and the song started to play, and I was like, oh, even on my phone, I can tell that this is really high quality. And I was listening to it, and I messaged to you. I was like, oh, this is really high quality. And you said... I can't remember what it was, and I'm not going to go look up our conversation, but basically the gist of what I got to was I messaged you and I was like, this guy sounds just like Peter Gabriel.
Yes.
And you're like, it is Peter Gabriel, idiot. And I'm like, oh, because I was looking at it on YouTube Music, and the way I was looking at it on my phone, it just said the title of the song, and then it said Brightside Mix. So I was like, Chris sent me a remix of something. You know, I'm like, oh gosh, he sent me a remix because it's a Brightside Mix.
Right.
And it didn't say his name. And so then once you said that, I was like, oh, I think I had heard earlier in the year that Peter Gabriel was coming out with an album. And then we had this long thing where I went and looked it up, and we talked back and forth just while instant messaging each other about how cool this project is. So for those,
I listened to both the Bright Side and the Dark Side remix, and I found them to be different enough in certain ways that I think that you'll find this very, very interesting.
Right. You initially, on your initial listen, had thought that they were different songs, I think. So we'll see. I'm very excited to hear this because I have no clue what it sounds like at all. But so for those of you who don't know, if you're just here because you like the channel for whatever reason or you're one of the Metallica followers here on the channel, from what I understand from reading online and from talking to Chris about this, Peter Gabriel's new album was essentially mixed by 3 different people. So there's 12 songs, and he gave those 12 songs to 3 different people. And for most contexts, only 2 of the mixes matter, but I don't want to leave out the Dolby Atmos version, which is a whole third mix. But basically he has 12 songs that are mixed, referred to as the Bright Side Mix. and 12 songs that are referred to as the dark side mix. And then he does have 12 songs mixed in Dolby Atmos surround sound. So, and that was done by a whole different person as well. And I would imagine a surround sound mix would have to be quite different anyway. But for the purposes of this video, we're not going to worry about that Dolby Atmos mix. We're just going to listen to and compare some of the songs from the album, doing both the bright side mix and the dark side mix. Mm-hmm. So let me look. I have his Wikipedia page pulled up here, and I was going to check here the names of the guys who did this, which I want to say right now, I have not bought very many physical copies of CDs this year, which for those of you who are familiar with the channel, you know, I have a very extensive CD collection that is now, as I've added stuff, over 3,500 CDs.
Nice.
I believe I'm over, maybe it's 3,200. I can't remember, but I keep adding stuff every now and then. And
that's all tracked on Discogs?
Yes. Everything, nice. Every CD I have is, as far as I know, within reason, is on Discogs. So actually I can look it up and tell you what my name is, and anybody that has Discogs can like friend me, and you can
great. Yeah, I was wondering if that was a thing.
You can look at my whole catalog. I believe you can just search. So my name, let me see. I think my name is literally just Patrick Musilek. It's just Patrick Musilek, no space, capital P, capital M. So if you can find me on Discogs, currently right now my collection has a maximum value of $51,876.
Hey, retirement.
But a median value of $22,034. But with CDs, that is a median value anymore is not an accurate representation, because go try to buy any CD online and it's going to be $10 pretty much minimum, no matter what it is. And that also doesn't take into consideration shipping. But anyway, why were we talking about Discogs?
That's because I brought it up.
Oh, well, I'm sure I brought it up for whatever reason.
You were saying that you haven't bought much media this year.
Yeah, I have an extensive collection of CDs, but right now, unless we listen to these songs and I'm like, this is terrible, I plan on actually purchasing this album by Peter Gabriel, because first of all, I think it's really cool. It's a 3-disc set, 2 CDs, and 1 Blu-ray containing the Dolby Atmos mix. And on Amazon, it's just $27.99. And amazing. I think that, and that right there would be enough to go over the, they changed it to the $35 limit. Boo, Amazon, boo. It used to be a $25 limit. So if you didn't have Amazon Prime and you spent $25, you got free shipping on everything.
Oh, okay.
Now you have to spend $35 to get free shipping, which is absolute crap. However, it's not like I ever had trouble finding $35 worth of CDs or whatever to buy. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. I shout out to Peter Gabriel for releasing an awesome set, because I'm sure maybe not sure, but maybe both of these albums could fit on one CD. Probably not, though, because they're probably... I'm looking...
Honestly, I'll probably pick this up for that Atmos mix, because I've only had a couple of surround sound mixes ever in my life of anything. Yeah. In terms of like just music. Yeah. And an Atmos mix, like I do have 2 height channels for Atmos in my living room. So I do have a sort of a 5.1.2 Atmos layout that I think I just would be so curious to hear how this fits into that.
Now, can I ask, maybe this is a stupid question, but what makes Atmos different than just like regular 5.1?
It's a pretty complicated answer that I don't necessarily have all of the technical knowledge to give you, but I can say in a nutshell is that it has the ability to be what they call it 3D audio, effectively. It's like it can be much more positionally specific than just sort of directionally specific. Okay. It's like, it's instead of coming from over there, it's like, it's much more pinpointed. Okay. In a way that is witchcraft, as far as I'm concerned. And it has, and in a standard 5.1 or 7.1, you have, your surround is like this, but Atmos it includes height as well. You get height channels from Atmos mixes too.
Interesting. Really interesting, yeah. Because the only other time I've encountered a Dolby Atmos mix of an album is earlier this year. Mm-hmm. The new Blur album, Ballad of Darren, was released with a Dolby Atmos Blu-ray mix. And when we were listening to the stereo, just the plain stereo mix of that album, which is, you can go watch that video here on my channel, I could tell that something was extraordinary about the spatial about where everything was. Like, I still think that it's the highest quality audio-wise thing I've heard all year long, which shocked me for a Blur album because I don't think Blur as a band anymore deserves that.
Anymore?
Well, yeah. I mean, they have clout and credit within the music industry that Damon Albarn has built up, but like, I don't think the album is deserving of like, it's not the best album. And
this was something that I thought that I had based on just this Peter Gabriel thing is like something out because I was talking to my friend about it while we were in the car together, and I was like, these industry staples, like these guys, especially people who did like a lot of like were really big in the 80s, like, and what's his face?
Phil Collins.
Gary
Newman.
There seems to be a consistent thread with these guys. Like if they're still making music now and they were making music in the 80s, especially when they were on like the pop and like the upcoming synth and electronic scene from then, you are going to get production at a level that you will not find anywhere else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Depeche Mode, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, Duran Duran.
Being true about Damon Albarn is like the further into his career he gets, he's going to become one of those people.
Yeah. No, that's not true already. No, it's not true at all. But my point in bringing that up was like just listening to the stereo mix of that album. You can watch the video if you don't believe me. Listening to the first two songs, I was like, I've never heard an album mixed this way.
Wow.
Like it was apparent to me even that way. And maybe it's just the quality of the recording or whatever, but you can watch the video. Like I couldn't wrap my head around how the stereo mix was laid out around me. I just was shocked. And then to learn after the fact that there was a Dolby Atmos version of it, I was like, I mean, we find it out during the reaction, but I was like, oh, that makes sense to me that there was like a thought put into this in the stereo spectrum that maybe wouldn't necessarily normally be put into it. And I don't know how much of that has to just do with the clarity of everything that I was hearing, or if it does have anything at all to do with the fact that there is eventually a Dolby Atmos mix of it. But
I wonder too, it's gotta be crazy complex.
I don't know, but that makes me wonder if like the audio fidelity of what we're about to hear with this Peter Gabriel is going to be like off the charts.
I'm looking forward to it because I heard it in the car and I remember, I mean, we were just, relatively new, modern, like 2018 car with a, it wasn't like a bare bones, like cardboard stereo. It wasn't the best thing that's offered in this vehicle. And we were on the interstate, and I was hearing it and I was like, I can tell that this sounds great.
That's exactly my thought too, just listening to it on the phone. And I think that's what I said, like even on my phone, I can tell this. And Peter Gabriel, okay, let's get into this. Chris, what do you know about Peter Gabriel? I'm really curious about this.
I know that he was originally part of Genesis, lead singer, I think.
Yep, before he left and then Phil Collins stepped in.
Yep, and he...
and that was in their more sort of like prog experimental time.
Yeah, like... deep lore Genesis, like the purists would probably say,
which I don't know very much
Genesis
about.
Genesis wasn't anything after Peter Gabriel,
Which I don't know anything about that era.
Yeah, beats me. Maybe I would agree, but otherwise, his solo work, I am familiar with a handful of songs, and his music has always sounded incredible. Like I don't recall ever that.
I was going to say, I think he's definitely one of those artists that even with Genesis, I think that you could really rely on to have it sound like top notch for the technology that was available at the time. And I think he's also known as a very eccentric person.
Yes, I agree with that.
Which can sometimes lend to an artist being so far up their own ass that it's annoying. As in the case of Pink Floyd. Or, which by the way, I just saw today that Roger Waters fired his own son from being in Pink Floyd. And so now his own son is playing in a Pink Floyd cover band.
Man, oh man.
And he wouldn't give any reason. He wouldn't even tell his son why. But he just said they had a meeting and he said, "You're fired." To his son.
Those guys. Pink Floyd, hilarious. Hilarious.
Be on the lookout for our Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon reaction coming soon on the channel.
Yeah, any day.
But being an eccentric person can also lend to as we all know, even in the case of Pink Floyd as well, like just amazing creativity, pushing the bar of music forward. And so I do think that Peter Gabriel has been one of those people. And I also think that I'm not an expert on Peter Gabriel at all. I did watch a documentary on him, a Trash Theory documentary video on him once. I'm pretty sure he's done some like crazy things in the past, like some different weird things that were really unconventional in terms of like thinking of him as sort of like a synth poppy pop artist. I will say I don't know very much of his music at all, and I only have 3 of his albums here on CD. And as I mentioned, I have a huge collection of CDs, a lot of which I've never actually listened to. I just buy like whether I can find boxes or like, if I go somewhere and they have every CD is 50 cents, I'll just grab random things and eventually they get put on the shelf and eventually I get to them. Or, I find a reason.
Are they numbered in some way? Are they in some kind of order?
Not on my shelves, but I do know where everything is because I just have a memory like that. I can tell you exactly where everything
There's
is.
a TikTok channel of a guy who has like an entire room full of VHSs that he acquired in a very similar style where he just like sees one and he buys it at a garage sale or wherever. He just gets his hands on it and he does not necessarily know what's actually on it. And his channel is that people are like, how about number like 6853? And he like pulls it off the shelf and he's like, opens it. It's like, oh, this is what's on the label. Can't wait to see what it is. And he throws it in and it just like, he gives you a handful of minutes of, here's a bunch of commercials from the 70s and here's the movie that's on it, and stuff like that.
That's really cool.
This is somebody's wedding, like whatever.
I love
it. It's like, that would be such a great thing for you to do, to just have a bunch of people like, what about this one? And you pull the CD and you're like, aha, this album I've never listened to. Let's see what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is I have listened to a vast majority of them, so I don't think it would necessarily come up that way. But yeah, I don't have an organization system. I will say the cool thing about Discogs is that you can organize it however you want. So if you are looking at my collection, you can have it alphabetized. You can look at only the metal CDs. You can look at only the whatever.
Which is odd. That's incredible.
Collections. You can have it organized by value, so you can look at the most expensive things I have all the way to the cheapest, 1.01 cent, 1 cent.
What's
CDs.
the nicest, what's the most expensive thing you have as far as you know?
In terms of CDs? That's a single one, or just as a collection, the most expensive one I have is my Blur 21 box set.
Oh, nice.
For their 21-year anniversary that has 21 CDs and DVDs and stuff in it.
But like, what about a single album? Like, what's the highest value?
A single CD? Discogs? Let's look real quick. I have everything pulled up here. Okay, so you would be interested in this, Chris. Back in the day, probably 2010, 2011, I ordered from Pretty Light's website his first 3 albums, but one of them is a double set. So it's 4-disc set of his first 4 albums, basically. It's worth $99.
Wow.
So I have that.
That's very neat.
Okay, so the most expensive CD that I have is a special gold disc, 24 karat gold disc, gold-plated disc edition of Book of Dreams by the Steve Miller Band.
Wow.
It's $80.70 is its median value. The maximum value that it's been purchased for is $163. The cheapest one that's for sale right now, hold on, let me the cheapest one is $75 plus $6 or $7 shipping. So
wow. Where did you get it?
$81.
How'd you get your hands on it?
I bought it at the record store that I used to work at. Someone came in and they brought like 10 CDs to sell back, and they were all gold discs.
Wow.
And we divvied them up. I wasn't allowed to buy all of them because I absolutely would have, and I really wish I would have been able to. But I got Heart and Steve Miller Band, and I think one other one, and I can't remember who. Rod Stewart.
That's legit.
Rod Stewart. And those 3 are. But anyway, that's my.
And why were they gold? Was that part of like a?
Yes, it was supposed to be higher audio fidelity. The reflection of the gold on the laser is supposed to be like the most accurate reading of the CD ever. Now, do you and I know? Right. That's very suspicious.
Highly dubious, as Martin would say.
Now, that's a special thing because it's a gold disc. If you want to know the actual most expensive CD I have, it is the Shiny Toy Guns, We Are Pilots.
Really?
Their second, the version of their album that came out before they were picked up as from a major record label. So it's the second version of their first album. It's worth $60.
Wow. I was just listening the other day.
I listened
to him. I think we went over
time.
that, actually, yeah.
But anyway, okay, so whatever, bring all that stuff up. I have 3 Peter Gabriel CDs. One of them is his very famous album, probably his most famous album. It's called So. This is his album that has his most famous song on it, which is called Sledgehammer.
Great song.
Which is a great song, absolutely. And I sat down last night and I put this in my CD player to try to listen to it. And oh boy, is it a little tough to get through.
Oh, yeah?
Every song is unnecessarily 6.5 minutes long. Ooh. It's worse than Metallica.
Dude, this happens. There's so many like classic songs. This has happened to me with Queen. One of my, as a child, was my favorite band. Mm-hmm. I was really young. I had three favorite musics. It was Queen's Greatest Hits on VHS, Thriller, and the Ghostbusters theme song. 3 favorite musics. Because there's no other way to outline these things.
Hey, that's how young you were. I love it.
Right. And so I like plenty of Queen songs I love.
Sure.
I have tried to listen to like an album of theirs. Unlistenable. It's work. It's unlistenable.
Yeah. Well, so
and it's crazy how that like certain songs have like the staying power over the decades, and the rest of it is like, this is weird experimental drug trash. Like, this is a mess.
Yeah. Well, every one of these songs is just like a 3-minute song stretched to 6.5 minutes. It's crazy. Just repeating the same thing over and over and building little bits here and little bits there and adding female backing vocals and stuff. All things that I would and should love based on everything I've ever said on the channel here, but it just was a slog. I think I only listened to the first 3 songs, one of which is Sledgehammer, which is like a normal length song.
And how does this track also for your experience with Led Zeppelin, or is that all trash?
No, I've only listened to 4. And it was really hard for me to get my head around the fact that it just sounded so bad. Like,
I see.
One of the worst produced albums I've ever heard ever from a band that had no right making such a bad sounding album. But that's so far the only Led Zeppelin that I've heard. So I cannot base off that. Metallica wise, we've discussed that at length. How I think a lot of Metallica songs could be a third cut down by a third.
Oh, I just meant like the thing I was talking about, where it's like the hits are banging, and then you go listen to the album of a 40, 50-year-old band, and it's like, this is just not working.
That's a great, okay. That's approaching the question from a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. That's a really hard question to answer, and I'm not even going to get into it because it's a longer conversation, but I will say in general, if you listen to a band that is a classic band, no. I think that they're considered a classic band for a reason.
Cool, all right.
And I think their albums are better overall than the average like one-hit wonder band, I would say. Now that's
cool. Okay, good.
That's tough when you're talking about the decade of the 80s, where it was the decade of one-hit wonders. So that's
which
tough.
I think new technology will do that. Like, especially something as major of a shift as the introduction of electronic music.
Well, because you get songs that are novelty songs. You know, but and a lot of it's just, you know, or an artist trying
like
something.
The Monster Mash.
An artist. I was thinking actually of Herbie Hancock, Rocket, right? Do 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 do.
Or Funky Town,
right? Well, Funky Town is a good example of that as well. Like, the rest of their album is probably just like terrible disco, right?
Yes.
But that one song has just like the best synths, the coolest rhythm, right? Really awesome melodies. And then the rest of it's probably bland disco. And so, and the Herbie Hancock thing I bring up too, because I have Herbie Hancock records, and he had been an artist for decades before that. And it's all just this like jazz. Bleh. And then he happened to make this awesome electronic instrumental song, and I bet you the rest of the songs on that album are just jazzy black. But maybe I could be wrong. But anyway, Peter Gabriel. So I have this album. I couldn't finish it at all. Probably only listened to like 4 songs before I fell asleep. Then I have, interestingly enough, I love these. I don't know if you can tell, but there's colors on the sides here, I think, that represent his albums as he went through his career. But I have Secret World Live, which is a live album of his. And this is from 1994.
Ooh.
So we're talking 20 years ago almost that this came out. And I'm sure it's an absolutely crazy show. It's a double disc set of which I only have one of the discs. So that's probably why I've never listened to it or even care about this at all. But hey, that's what you get for buying 50-cent CDs. And then the other album of his that I have is called New Blood. And this is, interestingly enough, what I have considered to be one of the highest quality recordings I've ever heard.
What year?
This is 2011. This was he decided to make an album of a bunch of his very famous songs with just an orchestra.
Nice.
And choir.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it is like the highest quality recording ever. That's a little unfair because it's just like, I mean, we've been perfecting how to record the orchestra for the last 600 years.
Yeah.
And it's then Peter Gabriel singing, so it's like, get a good microphone on the guy. But it just is a phenomenal recording. Now the songs are really sparse, and because I'm not a big enough fan of his to know any of the songs on here other than Salisbury Hill and Sledgehammer's not even on here.
Wow.
So those are the only 3 Peter Gabriel albums that I have that I know at all. I know he very famously released an album. I have his wiki pulled up here. I know he famously released an album in 2010 called Scratch My Back. That was he picked like, I think 10 or 12 artists that he liked, and he did covers of their songs, and he had them do covers of his songs.
Nice.
Back. And so that was like a double disc thing that he did that I think most people really enjoy. But as far as I know, looking at his albums here, he has his first 4 albums are known as Peter Gabriel 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then in 1986, he released So, which is the one I have.
Okay.
And then Us, and then Up in 2000. So 1986, So. 1992, Us. 2002, a decade later, Up. And then now we have 2023, the next new album of new material.
Wow.
And so I was reading about I.O., and it says that he began work on this album in 1995.
Gross.
Right. So he's been working on this album off and on for the last 3 decades. Mm-hmm. And I believe that was mostly writing. And when he got down to make this album, everything was recorded recently. And it says that it's been 21 years, I think, since his last official album. And he has written a bunch of songs, and his next album will not be 21 years in the future.
That's good, because he'll be dead probably.
Right. We may all be dead by that point.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen. But it's kind of an interesting process, this, and I didn't have time to read the whole thing. But I want to at least look up the names of the 2 guys that did the different versions. And then we will get to listening to something, because I want to get to listening.
Same.
But I want to try to find the names of the guys, which it's crazy to me that it's not like this, that should be like a huge part of this. And it doesn't seem like in just,
what should?
Yeah. And just looking at this, it's hard to even find.
What do you look? The fact that there's another guy that mixed it?
No, just like the 2 guys who mixed it should be just as important and prominently mentioned in this wiki article as, Okay, so the 2 guys who did the different mixes are Mike Stent, and Chad Blake. Now, I want to say I think I've come across both of these names before. So let me look here. Okay, Mike Stent has been a recording producer and mixing engineer for these bands: Madonna, U2, Beyonce, Bjork, Depeche Mode, Echo and the Bunnymen, Grimes, Ed Sheeran, Harry Styles, Frank Ocean, Selena Gomez, Spice Girls, Lady Gaga, Coldplay, Maroon 5, Muse, Lily Allen, Gwen Stefani, Moby, No Doubt, The Kaiser Chiefs, Linkin Park, The Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Keane, Massive Attack. And that's enough of all of that.
Never heard of them.
It looks like he's won He's been nominated for so many Grammy Awards that it's not even funny. He won one for Madonna, one for Beyonce, one for Muse with The Resistance.
Wow.
One for Frank Ocean. He won for Ed Sheeran. So this guy is top of the tops.
The guy.
One of the guys.
He's the guy.
He is the guy. So now let's look up Chad Blake. Good Lord. Chad Blake, born 1955. Here are the people he's worked with.
The very first person to be named Chad, I imagine.
Chad with a T before this C. To Chad.
Oh.
Yeah, so definitely the first person we named that.
Yeah, that's definitely a prototyping of the name Chad.
Here is who he's worked with. Al Green, Annie DeFranco, Apartment 26, Arctic Monkeys, Cibo Matto, Elvis Costello, Fiona Apple. This is really interesting here, seeing this list compared to the last one. Like I am getting a sense of what's the difference between these just looking at this. This guy has worked with the Black Keys, T-Bone Burnett, Tom Waits, the Dandy Warhols, the Pretenders, Sheryl Crow. So to me,
never heard of him.
Los Lobos. To me, this is going to be the mix I like more.
I love how
I know.
Both times that joke, absolutely zero reaction. It doesn't deserve one. I don't know. I get you.
No. But so the Chad Blake ones, which are known as the Dark Side Mix, just based off of the people that those albums, that is my prediction for the mix I will like way more. Based on the people that Chad Blake has worked with.
I almost wish that you had listened to the songs and then decided which one you like better and then looked at that list.
Oh, yeah, probably. But you know me, I'm not going to let that information impact my decision. Sure. I'm just saying, looking at those people, like a dude who worked with T-Bone Burnett, the Black Keys, and other stuff like the Arctic Monkeys. Awesome.
I am really looking forward to this because I have a vague memory of hearing it in the car, heard the Bright Side version, and then I was looking into it, and then I switched to the Dark Side version, and I was like, I think that they were different in ways other than just like EQ and compression and stuff like that. Like it became like different elements of the song were either highlighted or changed in some way where it's like, this has a totally different groove to it. Like this is the same song, but a different style almost. And there is the potential that I didn't remember the first one well enough when I heard the second one to compare them side by side. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, okay. So that's all we're going to dive into what this album is. There's a lot more in here in terms of like who did what on the album, how it was recorded, all that stuff. And that's all very interesting, especially from an audio engineering standpoint. But for what we're going to do here, we'll just call that good. But I agree with you. I think that this is such a unique opportunity that we have here to discuss the differences between the same album mixed by two completely different people. You never, ever, ever get that opportunity.
No, this is like legitimately the type of opportunity you could use if you were teaching about this
100%. And I hope that this does get used in the future as a way to teach. You know,
I'm sure Chris will use it for
Chris will absolutely use this 100%. So, okay, we're 30 minutes into the video. Let's go ahead and listen to this. Now, do you remember what the name of the song was that you heard, Chris?
I think Road to Joy.
Okay. Well, I think we should just start with track one.
I agree.
Panopticom. And just see. Now, disc one is the Bright Side mix. So that's what we're going to listen to first. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So we're going to listen to Peter Gabriel's Panopticom, the Bright Side mix, which it's 5 minutes and 16 seconds long. I love a good meaty song. And like you were saying earlier, you brought up the idea of those people from the 80s who are sort of still active. This year, we've gotten a lot of good ones. Depeche Mode, Duran Duran, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. They all released new albums recently. They're all really good, and everyone should go check those out if you're familiar with those artists. I think this album has the potential to be phenomenal just any one of the 12 songs, let alone the idea that we get 12 songs and the same 12 songs in a completely different way. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Panopticom Bright Side Mix in 3, 2, 1.
Interesting how that guitar's mostly on the left.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Ooh. Oh. I've been struck.
Let us go.
Ooh.
Oh, see there, that sound. Where is that? Oh. Okay, I will say I hope they don't do a bunch of shenanigans with his voice. I want him to be in the middle.
And louder.
Well, he's low right now. But he's quiet.
More Pink Floyd than I expected.
Yeah?
Especially the sound of his voice. It sounds just like, what's his face?
That's his style, to double his vocals always. Which I find a little annoying. I'm surprised of the strummed acoustic guitar.
I love that guitar. Love that.
Yeah. So far, this is interesting. Not necessarily what I was expecting.
Right.
I was expecting more sparse of a song.
Oh, sure.
But maybe we'll get that next song. I mean, I don't know. There is a lot of things moving. Or a few things, maybe. I don't know. Drums sound good. I mean, it all sounds good. All the delays are really interesting. All the delays are really interesting. Because to have fast delays with high frequency still in them on instruments that have fast attack with lots of high frequency in them, it makes it feel 80s, which is probably what he's going for.
Oh, is that what the buzz is after the snare?
I guess. I wasn't paying attention to the snare. The bass sounds great.
Yeah, it does.
But there's not almost no low frequencies in anything else.
Yeah, it can stand alone real easy.
I gotta turn this song down. this groove. I think the kick and snare we're hearing, for the most part, is the kick and snare that was recorded.
Oh, okay. He doesn't seem like the replacement type.
No. He uses technology that's available to him. This is great. This is kind of more what I would expect. I was thrown off by these strummed acoustic guitars a lot.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because I want to get to the next song pretty quick. Yeah. But I would say overall, I did not care for that very much.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me musically.
I mean, that's bummed to me. I'm bummed because like I was expecting to be blown away and that didn't blow me away from a songwriting standpoint.
Right.
So, let's just listen to the other one?
Yeah, drop in.
All right. Panopticom.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same length? It is. Okay, this is Dark Side Mix. In 3, 2, 1.
That vocal wasn't there before, was it?
It was, but it had lots of reverb on it. It was background-y type thing.
Okay.
I expected more of a low-pass filter on everything. I didn't expect the guitar to be so sparkly.
It is bright.
There was no distortion on whatever that...
That guitar thing, it's so much more present.
Oh, he has a dry vocal in the middle.
It's more sparse.
What is that sound?
Marimba stuff.
And then the lyric was on the phones. I think it's supposed to be like a phone ringing almost.
This is so flat comparatively.
And he's only using the one vocal take. This is so much better, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Wow. The guitars are totally muted, exactly what I thought, low passed.
And it's got new elements.
Well, elements that we weren't featured. I don't know. There's things I like and dislike. Female vocals, backing vocals. Boy, this is a trip. Because there are things I don't like more on this and things that I do. The fact that he's having just one vocal take,
that
to me, infinitely
kick,
better.
Bum bum is so much different in this. Like, it sounds like an analog, like almost like a timpani drum. Like it's just got so much breath and movement to it compared to the previous one.
From above.
A lot of low pass stuff, which is exactly what I said. I do miss some of the clarity on the drums. You know, this kick drum is basically just a thump. There's no high frequency to it. The vocals sound so much better in this.
They're really right there, right in the center.
And there's just one track. It doesn't sound like muddied.
Right, it doesn't sound like the 80s.
Yeah. This is...
But like, calling it the Dark Side Mix is very appropriate, which is an interesting thing to be true.
It's crazy that you could give this. Like, is this what artists do? Like, does Peter Gabriel record an album and just give it to a person and it could be either this or the other thing? I could never have that much faith or trust in an engineer to do that.
Well, you're not dealing with the people who've been doing it for 60 years.
I don't care. I have a vision for this song and I want it to be something specific. I don't...
All right.
I mean, this is so different from the other one.
It is. But mostly the same at the same time, which is so interesting.
Imagine if you wanted it to sound like the other one and you got this back. Your heart would sink and be like, oh my gosh, this isn't what I wanted.
Well, I think... I'll wait till it's over.
Yeah. I think this part is less impactful on this version.
I feel like the drums are different. Like, played different.
They're just all low passed. Everything is.
Well,
all the drums.
Were those splashes and stuff there before, too?
Wow, that is shocking.
Yeah.
That is, you know, it's funny because on one hand, that is what I kind of expected the differences to be. But hearing them.
Yeah.
What an interesting, this is so cool. What a cool experiment.
And the Bright Side had so much left heavy stuff. Like at one point I turned my headphones around to make sure I just wasn't like, hadn't lost this ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Dark Side, it was so much more balanced.
Well,
and everything, it felt closer.
Yeah, I think what he was, that is just so interesting. Like the delays were insane on the Bright Side mix. Just like I would even say like a general rule of audio is that you never put like a sparkly sounding delay on an instrument that's already sparkly sounding.
Interesting.
Why? Like, because if you have a guitar going cha-chun, 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 and it sounds like a sparkly acoustic guitar going cha-chun, 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 and you add a delay that's just like, you know, however many, you know, milliseconds or however many seconds or whatever of delay, cha-chun, cha-chun, cha-chun with like it starts to become this like weird percussive thing that ends up fighting itself.
Interesting. Unless
you have the delays timed in, you know, to a grid and whatnot. And but then what it's doing essentially is doubling itself on a different beat, which then creates us or whatever. So like to have the strummed acoustic guitars have that crazy delay on them was a really interesting choice that to me made the whole Bright Side mix feel so much more chaotic than the Dark Side mix. To me, it was too much. It was like too much. However, the exact opposite can be said of the Dark Side mix. All the high frequencies were taken out of so many of the instruments that the kick went from sounding like pff to pff, and the snare went from sounding like ksh to and it just, which it gives it a different feeling, but all the acoustic guitars went from sounding dun dun da da dun dun to right.
You know what's funny?
But you know what I mean?
Well, I guess, yeah. No, I was just going to say, but you're not necessarily saying that all of this low pass filtering is the thing that you like about the Dark Side mix.
No. Okay. But I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
I think that it was done to an extreme that it didn't need to go to. And I wish that maybe as the song went on, he would have rose that up a little bit so that a little bit more of the high frequencies would have come back in. But what happened was, in doing that, the mix felt so much more sparse than the Bright Side mix.
Yeah.
Which I vastly preferred. To me, the biggest difference by miles and miles, though, was the fact that the entire Bright Side mix had Peter Gabriel doubling himself throughout the entire song. Like, it was hard to understand what he was saying when he was singing with that low voice at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was hard to understand what he was saying. It was much more easy to understand what he was saying in the Dark Side mix because there was a clean single vocal in the middle of the mix. And then that continued throughout the whole song. There was always a clean single vocal in the mix. Single vocal, not a doubling or and that I vastly prefer. That reason alone.
I agree with that.
For that reason alone, I prefer the Dark Side mix. However, like I said, I feel like that really groovy part where we kind of just like lost our minds during the Bright Side mix, that part was a lot more impactful in the Bright Side mix, because one of the things my brain was going was, wow, listen to the clarity of those drums combined with that bass guitar and that awesome rhythm, right? Whereas in the Dark Side mix, the clarity of the drums is gone. It's just basically becomes like the clarity of the drums is gone completely because they're just low passed. Sorry. And so to me, that part, which is the coolest part of the song, loses its impactfulness in the Dark Side mix.
I don't know. I wouldn't go so far as to say that the drums lost all their clarity in that, because they were just there was so much more. It felt heavier and closer.
Well, it went from being an 80s song to a trip hop song.
Yeah, okay. Just within itself, and that's like the Bright Side mix
drums.
is the 80s version. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm so excited to listen to the next song.
Let's keep it going.
Okay, so let's just go to track 2, Bright Side mix.
Please hold.
Yeah.
There we go.
So this is The Court, Bright Side mix. In 3, 2, 1. Ooh. Oh.
Blue October.
Dude, I cannot. I'm just like thinking of what the other mix is going to sound like now, too. Woo!
Oh boy, listen to that.
Oh,
there's so little going on.
Those distorted tom drums. Oh,
yes. Bam. And that single piano. Just
yes.
Bam.
Dude, this would sound so good in surround.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Ooh. It's killing me. This is so much heavier than anything we just heard on Spirit Box. Oh. That's not true, but
no.
God, what? We're only like a minute into this song. What do we got?
But it's just so like you will not find this level of quality, and like especially in these vocals and stuff anywhere else.
This is more of what I was expecting from Peter Gabriel.
This is weird.
Oh,
what was that?
It's brass, trumpets and trombone.
Yeah.
And strings.
But that
dude, this is how I felt listening to that Blur album. It's just like everything has its own damn place in the stereo spectrum, and how did it get there?
Yeah, how did it get there? Which album did you say?
Blur.
Oh, sure.
The other Dolby Atmos one.
Yeah.
Lost the line between the good and the bad. Lost the
line
between the same and the bad.
Oh, those strings! Oh my God!
It's so Blue October. Those vocals. That could be Justin himself, man.
We'll rise while the pillars all fall.
You're absolutely right. Dude, there's no way the other song's mix is better than this. No way! Listen to the clarity of all these drums.
We'll see.
Oh, that piano.
drums are a little far away now comparatively.
No, I disagree. There's room tone in the hi-hat and the
that could
snare.
Be right. Yeah. Sound more live.
The snare does sound farther away.
Okay.
That's for sure, yeah.
So many are reaching for it, so many reaching out for it. We know that justice is blind. So many are reaching for it, so many reaching out for it. We know that justice is blind. So many
Is it going to fade out? No, it doesn't have time. Maybe it does.
know that justice is blind.
Ooh, I like letting this little bit ring out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go right to the other one.
All right.
I can't wait.
Moment. Am I ready? Nope. Don't even know what that is.
It's a second.
I'm having to do this in like full open folder, back out of folder, go to next folder, so it's taking a little bit of extra
That's
time.
all right. That's what I'm doing too. I'm just way better than you.
Okay, cool. Well, I have it open in 2 tabs now, so we're good.
Are you? No, you're going to be better than me now. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. I predict that the brass and strings are going to be nuts in this version.
If they're in it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Love it.
You put your hand up, you make your bid. You got your pictures all laid out on the grid. Dug in the garden in the softest ground.
These vocals are also very brand new.
Really? We need to listen.
Yeah.
We need to listen. Wow, totally different.
Those swells. Oh, that was awesome.
Got the healer and the birthday cake. Got the whipping and we got the big.
That distortion on the piano.
Crunchy.
The triangle is new.
Totally different here. Last time I was like, what is the chorus? But I think it's just like a short little tube. Yeah. Much less impactful drums. I mean, this is cool, but this is separating the song into. That's really nice to have that bloominess.
Ooh. Different strings, barely there.
I can make out the voice of the law. Out in the market, all our lives are
This was so much more like circusy, like Monty Python-esque, British circusy kind of sound. Now it's doing something different.
You're absolutely right. It's like disgusting how much this sounds like Justin Furstenfeld.
It's making me love it more, so.
Yo, no, I agree. I'm just saying, like, dang. It's probably featuring Justin Furstenfeld.
And just, if you knew brand new, I could also say, like, this is criminally Jesse Lacey. So it's all exactly the same. It's all rolled into one.
If this is anything at all like the brand new, we need to listen to that.
Yeah. Love this. No brass. Sort of a Rhodes thing, maybe.
Also, I just read on here that the song Live and Let Live is 25 seconds longer on the dark side and inside mixes. The inside mix is the Dolby Atmos.
Interesting. I just hit purchase on that.
Ooh.
On the triple.
I'm not sold yet on it.
I gotta hear what this is like in Atmos.
So many are reaching for it. So many reaching out for it.
Ooh. That.
So many are reaching.
And no brass.
So many reaching out.
Well, there was earlier, but
But nothing like in the first version.
So many looking out for it. So many looking out for it. No, they're just
this song much less structure to it. Obviously both of them.
What a huge boom that was. It's almost like a concert bass.
Mm-hmm.
Is that him on the cover? I guess I don't know if you're seeing that. Or not.
Yes, with the hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? I was looking at it the other day. It's
That is the most quintessential old British man.
I don't have a good picture of it other than just the little tiny thumbnail, but
Yeah.
I was looking at it, and I think the thing that's interesting about it is that the hands are, like, the hand that's on the left is the hand that should be on the right, and the hand that's on the right is the hand that should be on the left.
And they're not like connected to his body at all. They're just like part of his head and then they disappear.
Yeah, it's like
Anyway.
So, contrary to the first song, I believe that the Bright Side mix of that was way better.
Oh boy, you cut out really bad. What were you saying? You think the Bright Side?
Yeah, the Bright Side mix is way better.
I agree.
So that's completely opposite of what I thought for the first song.
Mm-hmm.
That is so interesting.
And what a neat thing to if you're in a situation where you end up going back and forth on which mix you like better throughout this album.
Yeah, that's so true. Let's just keep going, right? I mean, I feel like we're talking enough about it that we can. So this is track.
And you know what's? He's giving us so much space to speak.
That is true. Although 6 minutes and 18 seconds.
Not only is there an inexplicable, impossible amount of room for everything that's happening in the song, he left room for us.
Yeah, that's true. It's like yes, exactly. Very thoughtful. All right, this is Playing for Time. 6 minutes and 18 seconds. Let's go.
Let it breathe.
Playing for Time, Bright Side mix. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, dun 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 dun.
Heard it too, yeah.
That is such a stereo image, like perfect. Ooh. I hear some brushes on the snare.
far, far away, out amongst the stars. There's a planet spinning slowly.
Paul Newman.
We call it ours.
Randy Newman.
Randy Newman. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Any day, any moment that we bring to life will never fade.
More brass. That's very nice.
Oh, the moments come and go, while the memories ebb and flow, and play again, play again.
I can't imagine the other mix is going to be much different for this.
Unless the instrumentation's different.
None of the instrumentation's been different. It's just been what's featured.
Through all the mist of time, it's all in here, what we've been through.
One single track of vocal the whole time. Love it.
I'm getting it down.
Sounds very, very high fidelity.
I was going to say, how much better can a vocal sound?
So everything I care about
It's got nice long reverb on it.
held in here.
That's active when he gets louder. It's not compressed to snot. The reverb, I mean.
What is? Oh, the reverb.
The reverb is not compressed too much,
Right.
which is something that modern music does a lot.
Everybody's playing.
Right, like you hear the reverb kick in a little bit more when he sings louder.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice.
I'm still playing for time.
Oh, that bass too. That bass.
The bass is incredible.
Yeah.
Back from where it came.
Ooh, there you heard the piano person move. Mm-hmm. You hear a little shift, body shift. It's probably Peter Gabriel playing.
Space, any time, any moment that we bring to life, ridiculous, sublime. Oh, all the moments come and go.
This is like Disney.
All the memories ebb and flow.
You're right, Randy Newman or whichever one is.
Yeah, Randy Newman.
Absolutely. But this is like Disney credits, ending credits.
This is definitely the sad part in the Pixar film.
Climb through all these mists of time. It's all in here.
I like this. I just in context of what we're doing, this is a smidge boring. Mm-hmm. But I love this, and boy, is it being executed really well.
Oh yeah.
So everything I care about.
Oh, that bass.
Mm-hmm. That spot, that little thing it does right there.
Every now and then it just like hops out.
Doop, doop, doop.
All of those I love inside.
Lights.
That'll probably be dry and in the middle on the other version.
Or it won't be there. It's very lights.
Yeah.
Future
Dude, the brass is so good.
sunny day.
It's so subtle.
Yeah. And it's hard to do that with brass because brass is so shrill. So it's like, but I mean, it's played well.
Right,
Orchestrated. So like written very well and then played well.
While the clock keeps ticking. You and I
He spent
still play.
the last 30 years working on this album.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, and I mean that full time every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is his last.
Voices silenced, for they know the time
This is his final album?
will tell.
I don't know if it's final, but it's his first new album since in 21 years
Right. Yeah.
The bell.
of new material.
All cards on the table.
No vocal overdubs so far. Totally fine with it.
Everybody's playing for time. Everyone's still playing for time.
Be nice to get some big timpani hits.
Looking for a flicker in the face of the clock.
Now this is like that New Blood album
Mountain
with the orchestra,
body of the
except there's no drums on that album.
no one seems to notice
But man, is that orchestra building.
the aftershock. They're all too busy playing for time.
And never anything ever gets lost in that swell.
Everybody's
That got so
playing
big,
for time.
and then it just kind of ooh. I love that.
You and I are still playing for time.
Wow. What a song. Mm-hmm. Okay, now here's a question. Do you think we would get a lot listening up in the version of that, or do you want to just go on to the next song?
No.
You want to listen to the...
I was thinking it'll either be subtle, and we'll know at some point, I think, whether or not it's going to be a ton or it's going to be huge.
Yeah,
Like,
and we don't have to
totally
listen to
different.
the whole song either.
Right. If it's clear that it's like, oh, this is a little bit compared, then we'll move on. But I think it's going to give us enough.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to expect here really because like
Same.
He has been using lots of distortion. This guy has been using lots of distortion and also everything has been feeling much more dry. So you can't do that with a song like this.
Right. And
There
so
can't
it's like
really
he's going to
be-
go a different route. And I think it's going to be really surprising.
I think it's going to be very similar to what we just heard. That's my thought.
Very what?
Very similar to what we just heard. All right, this is Playing for Time Dark Side Mix. You ready? Mm-hmm. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, piano much less stereo. You can really hear the like woofiness of it.
Yep.
Okay, now it got wider. Much less high frequencies.
Far, far away, out amongst the stars.
Even drier, I think, on the vocal.
Well, the reverb is low passed. So it feels more...
It goes away faster, effectively.
It feels kind of like that, but...
Any moment that we bring to life will
This feels like even more Toy Story.
the moments come and go, while the memories ebb and flow.
The strings everything are way less drenched in reverb. Way more dry. Oh, that is interesting.
There's a hill that we must climb through all the mist of time. It's all in here, what we've been through.
There's no way, by the way, that this is going to go through with the copyright. No way. This is going to get copywritten so hard, so fast. So I hope that people listen to this and listen to the music with us. I should have said that right away at the beginning.
We'll find out soon enough.
Maybe we shouldn't listen to much more. And it'll have a better chance.
Everybody's playing for time.
This is... It's so different. How? It's...
There goes the sun, back from where it came.
There's also a little delay on it as well, the vocals.
I think that movement you heard on the left in the previous song is exactly the same in this. I think it might have been the same recording of whoever was over there.
Anytime, any moment that we bring to life, ridiculous, sublime. All the moments come and go, while the memories ebb and flow.
It sounds so much less Disney now, don't you think?
Play again.
What's different?
Just everything sounds so much less lush. You know, it sounds so much less cliched, like orchestral ballad, and it sounds more like Old West soundtrack or something like movie soundtracky, less than, I don't know. Like the strings are dry.
I'm really curious about when it does eventually pick up.
Yeah, how...
So everything I care about.
There was that bass moment where we mentioned. Bass a lot less present and important here in this mix.
All of those I love inside.
That's different.
Yes, this is when it was reverbed.
And his performance in total, like what he's doing, is different.
I don't think it is. I think it was just
He didn't build through the little steps of those vocals last time. It just sort of appeared in the distance.
Okay.
Unpack memories stored away.
There's some brass.
Strings are so distant.
While the clock keeps
I think they're way closer. Because they're so dry. I can imagine, this sounds like if you're standing... This sounds like if you're the conductor of the orchestra. The other one sounded like if you're in the audience.
I see.
A lot more piano.
Something big and clackety.
all cards on the table.
That's
All
not.
hands are down.
See, this is the low pass frequency. The low pass is rearing its ugly head again.
What is that happening over there?
It sounds like a whip.
On like a delay. And this was almost entirely just orchestral swell last time. There's so much more happening here.
They're all too busy playing for time.
This is mind-boggling.
Good.
This, I have never heard anything like this. Like, we've never had the opportunity.
Right.
This is like the most fascinating thing ever. I really hope that anybody watching this with us, first of all, that they can hear the music in the video, which I highly doubt. And second of
honestly, given all of the like compression and stuff that it would go through to become a video, they might be better off finding a version of it to just listen to in its purest form.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's actually a great point. But even if whatever the situation there, I hope that the average person watching understands what we're saying and can tell. Because like if I showed that to my mom, I don't think she would be able to tell a difference between those two.
I wondered about
versions.
that. Like I thought about the person who buys
now,
this album.
Lowest bar. That's the lowest bar
Right.
imaginable. So
I thought about the person who buys this album and like throws it on during a party and wonders why they're hearing every song twice.
yeah.
And
That's a great point.
it doesn't really, I mean, I guess in that regard, you would just pick one disc, but they were like, what's the difference? You know, I just don't know if this is made for just anyone.
This is made for us.
Right.
This is made for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
nerds
is
and
so
garbage
freaking
people.
cool.
It is so cool.
I want to keep going.
Let's do it.
Oh, man. Oh, okay. I.O.
Title track, Bright Side.
And now I want to say the idea of I.O. that he knew he wanted to call this album I.O. way back in like 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing that this might actually be one of the oldest songs on this album.
Okay, that's an interesting thought. Yeah.
And I didn't read on here if it specifically said, but in the audio industry, you know what I.O. stands for, right, Chris?
Yeah, it's like on off, right?
No, it's input output.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, but
Which
yeah.
you knew that. But like, yes, input output. And so like, I don't know if that's what this stands for. I'm trying to, it's his longest regular studio album to date. Now, if that's because it includes 2 discs, that's a bullcrap stat. Usually, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to waste time looking on his wiki for that, even though this is fascinating as crap. Okay, I.O., much shorter song, only 4 minutes.
Nice. It's too bad Chris isn't here for this.
I know. I wish he would have been, or Cody, because he has a much less trained ear than we do.
Or anyone. Yeah, like we could make an example out of anybody.
Literally, yes. Yes, my Hunter, my 12-year-old nephew. Can you tell the difference between this? No? All right.
Yeah, well, out you go.
Okay, I.O. Bright Side mix in 3, 2, 1. More piano, okay. I'm okay with it being like piano based. I would kind of expect that.
I'm just a part of everything. I stand on 2 legs and I learn to sing.
Right in front of my face. Dry as it gets.
It's just that this is like the perfect example of when I'm always talking about everything being low passed. Here we have an album that's mixed without that mindset, and then an album mixed with that mindset.
Stuff coming out.
The crispy frequencies in his vocals, it sounds so good.
Oh. So we think we really live apart, 'cause we got 2 legs, a brain and a heart. We all belong to everything, to the octopus suckers and the buzzard's wing, to
The octopus suckers and the buzzard's wing.
When he said 2 legs, a brain, and a heart, I actually thought, and a fart first. Which is why he's doing this and I'm not.
I wish you were. This sounds great.
Phil Collins.
Yeah. A little too high there for you, but that's all right. He did it. He did it. He sang it fine. He sang it right. Ooh, that was a cool little China hit thing or something. Spread out my tubers wherever I need. I find any way to attach and connect, and I run like water, no cause or effect. I got stuff coming out, and stuff going in. I'm just a part of everything. Stuff coming out, and stuff going in. I'm just a part of everything. Those hi-hats. My old boss, Cleet, would love this. He would say that it sounds really good. This is the style of mix that he strived for. He would try to get. When the panting is over and the warmth has run out, love will be flowing, I have no doubt. That snare drum sounds so good. To be faced, I'll be all laid to rest in my proper place. Into the roots. All those ghost notes on it. This, you can tell this is a real snare. And the kick sounds so good. Stuff going in. I'm just a part of everything.
The tom on the far right. Boom, boom.
So dynamic too, like I almost feel like it's a little loud right now. We need a gospel choir on this. See, to me, that's only 2/3 of a song. We need we need an awesome bridge where everything breaks down. Gospel choir comes in, and then they finish with the I-O, I-O with everyone clapping.
That is very, and we've got one more version left. It might show up.
No, I don't think so. That is the first time I've been disappointed here with something like that, like just song structure.
Which is so funny when you're like, this is only 1/3 of a song, and it's 4 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was taking his time with the song, All right, ready for the Dark Side mix?
Oh, yeah.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, really. This is just the perfect example of what I always talk about. Of everything. I stand on 2 legs and I learn to sing. I want to point out, though, this is not overly... Like all the lows aren't taken out here. Enough of this still sounds high fidelity, but it's more the mindset. Just a part of everything. Stuff coming out, stuff going in.
That's new. That clock ticking sound.
So I think we really live apart, 'cause we got 2 legs, a brain and a heart. We all belong to I'm missing all those high frequencies, the crispiness.
I notice it in the snare.
Oh, the hi-hat, his vocals, the piano, literally everything we're hearing. And again, I'm not saying it sounds bad. Whoa.
Those timpani, right? There's some very large drum happening.
Yeah, it sounds like there is some timpani in there.
I learn like a baby, I learn like a seed. Spread out my tubers wherever I need. I find any way to attach and connect, and I run like water, no cause or effect. I got stuff coming out.
It's so weird, but this feels almost faster to me. I know that it's not, it's not,
Right.
but it feels a little faster.
Stuff going in. I'm just a part of everything.
Could be the drums doing something different.
Nah, I think it's the same thing. Yeah, what was that? Also, in that second verse, we didn't hear that thing we...
I heard it.
Oh, did you?
At least once. I don't know about twice.
And the warmth has run out. Love will be flowing, I have no doubt. With the vehicle in neutral and the ground.
There's a different version of it.
I'll be all made to rest in my proper place. Into the roots of an old tree, where life can move freely in and out of me. There's stuff coming out, there's stuff going in. I'm just a part of everything.
Those timpani are massive.
It just sounds so much more muted to me. Everything does. Different ending, I feel there.
And this really feels like an album that, like, you could A/B this for the rest of your life. You know, you break every song down into little sections, and maybe you take them both and put them in separate tracks, and then you cut out. And that's something I did one time to see if I could find the difference. Somebody told me that one song on like YouTube Music sounded significantly different than it did on Spotify. So I took them, I ripped them both out of each, and then I put them in, all lined up top to bottom, and then I just cut chunks out, and then I, moved the bottom one up, and so it just would change in the middle of the song. And it's the kind of thing where you could do that to this, and then you get this like really crystal clear A/B of what any different section sounds like compared to the previous area. And it just like, you could do it all day with stuff like this.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that would jump out of this on him immediately is just the high end. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the thing that, to me, it's the bright side mix is separating itself from the dark side mix so much. Like, it obviously makes sense that that's the bright side mix, because the more high frequencies, the brighter sounding. The less high frequencies, the darker sounding it is. And I would agree with that's true. And so that's what we're getting,
Because on its own, if just the dark side mix came out and we never had a bright side mix, I don't think a recognition of like a low passing.
No, I would.
Too muted. You think so?
I would notice it. Yeah. Yeah. To me now, what I'm starting to feel like is the bright side mix is the real mix, and he asked someone to do it differently on purpose. That's almost what I'm feeling. Like, it would be such a shame to have that song we just heard and have only the dark side mix of that to exist. To me,
I feel like it wasn't as much of an afterthought as that. Like, I feel like this is something planned.
Yeah,
from the beginning.
That's probably too extreme of a way to say it, but like, to me, like, the definitive version is the bright side mix, like definitive. Yeah. I mean, which I thought I was going to like the other version a lot more, but I was totally wrong. Like, I talk about all the time on my channel, the lack of high frequencies is such an issue on so many albums this year and in the last few years. We discuss it. We always, why is this? We need to know why, blah, blah, blah. This is like, I mean, this is a professional guy who's won many Grammys and stuff. Like, his approach to this album is, in my opinion, going so far. He's taking out so much high frequencies that it is to the detriment of the songs. Even though I do think it sounds good, like the idea of the other version not existing, and what I feel like I do still feel like, because when the drums come in, there's just something missing.
The next song that we do, let's start with the Dark Side mix.
Okay, that's a great idea. Great idea. So this is so 4 kinds of
horses.
4 kinds of horses. We're going to, 647. We're going to do the Dark Side mix first. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So this is 4 kinds of horses, Dark Side mix in 3, 2, 1. This is a good idea. Good job, Chris. Mm-hmm. We should have been doing this probably the whole time, alternating. Ooh.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that synth.
Mm-hmm. Man, oh man, do it.
Dude, that other synth.
Keep it going.
It all seems so simple.
Oh, yeah.
Remarkably clear.
That's a lights vocal effect.
Womp, 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 womp.
Yeah.
You will burst into our fear. They must have seen you looking. Watched everything you said. Knowing you could be a part of it.
I want this song to just explode and get huge.
Yep.
The last song did that.
It's almost 7 minutes, so it's going to happen.
There's electric guitar on this too, which is cool.
Backwards now. Oh yeah, left side at least.
That like heartbeat guitar or heartbeat drum. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's going to be a real sounding kick in the other mix.
It's like he knows what I want.
Sounds like someone in the kitchen banging a plate or something.
100%.
And I love the background vocals. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh. That was like marching snare.
Again and again. Your mind is made up.
Do. Love it.
Everything fits.
This song really feels like this style of mix would really benefit this song. Mm-hmm. Strings. Ooh. Oh boy. Oh.
Here they come.
This is great.
Your face, it is everywhere. Such a dark, dark shade of fame. Come all the nights, oh, come all the days.
Shaker.
Love that.
Right in the middle.
Brilliant haze. It's all your money. There is the load. This is how you travel if you live to see the world explode. Are you saying something different? But you do it all again.
God, I almost am happy that it didn't blow up. I love the way that this is just cruising.
Is it every time someone mentions a horse, all I think of is Red Dead Redemption? Probably stupid, but like honestly, Red Dead Redemption 2 is so amazing. Everything in life can be related back to it, I feel. Doom doom. Love it.
Oh yeah.
Doom doom. Love it. Ooh, yep. I agree with you completely. I love that it hasn't exploded in the way I wanted it to initially.
Now we're getting
Pizzicato.
into bleeding me territory. Just in terms of the style of song, how it just kind of keeps wandering through where it's going.
Yeah. Okay, Justin Furstenfeld's back. Hey, Justin, come back. I got another song for you. I'm sure Peter Gabriel was a huge inspiration for Blue October.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's not in the back going, Peter who?
Ooh. Beep boop. Distorted piano note, maybe? I don't know. Distorted something.
Yeah, some kind of synth at the very least. Boop.
Ooh. This is going to sound so good in that other mix. We're getting mid-range soupy now.
A little bit.
But that's been the goal of this. Like, they're sticking with what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, this is great.
Yeah, it is.
I don't even mind that they didn't go back to any sort of chorus or whatever. I don't know if there was a chorus really before, but...
Mm-hmm. Bub, bub, bub. I think it's probably the chorus. Just the section of the song where that happens.
Ba, ba, ba. Whoa. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the piano to resolve, and it did not. And instead, it was a little bleh, like a woofy.
A little bit of a bassy fart.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump in.
Yes. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Brightside mix. 4 kinds of horses. In 3, 2, 1. Dude, I don't know.
That's different.
A little bit. Definitely farther away sounding.
Pew, pew, pew. Oh.
Where's that? Brrr. There was like a big synth. Like a big... There it is. Interesting.
That synth, that plinky synth has these weird bends in it.
You're right. That's an effect. Man, that synth is...
Seems so simple.
Didn't notice that before.
Wasn't in there before. And that plinky synth is wandering back and forth.
This has potential to be like top 5 songs of the year. This is
There's
badass.
4 kind of horses.
They must have seen you looking.
His voice just floating over everything.
Watched
That guitar being reversed is different. It's higher. It's in front now.
knowing you could be a part of it.
Oh, they stopped using it. Oh, there it is.
That kick drum is almost non-existent. The boom boom, the heartbeat one. Oh well. I guess here it is.
Oh, that's the same. That was lights. Super lightsy both times.
Ooh. There was some reverse stuff there in the
on the left.
in the percussion.
I think sounds like it might be acoustic guitar reversed because it's got more of a transient on it.
but you do it all again. Ah, you think you're something different, but you do it all again, again and again, again and again. Your mind is made up.
See this? It's the same sort of approach almost as the last song, except he's allowing there to be like an airiness to everything. You know?
Yeah.
Like he's got low pass filters on the snare drum. Definitely the kick drum is just the heartbeat thing. But there's like a tinkliness to this that's not in the other version.
Right. But I think by virtue more of it not having the instrumentation be the same in both songs.
Your face, it is everywhere.
Ooh,
Such
okay.
a dark shade of fame. Come on, us. Oh, come all the days. So inaccessible in this land, this land beyond the brilliant haze. Here is all your money. There is the load.
I think the reverse thing is almost distracting.
Almost, yeah. It's way more prevalent in this version.
Everything's still feeling chill though. Everything.
But you do it all again. Ah, you think you're something different, but you do it all again, again and again, again and again.
Those snaps persistent throughout. Oh, that
Guitar less present.
guitar. That 50s dream guitar.
Yeah. Surfy
Love
guitar
it.
almost. Yeah, dreamy, yeah. You can hear the auto-tune on the voice. Whoa. Oh. Oh, those swells. I mean, that swell, because it's still going. This actually sounds like something Blue October would do.
It does. And I'd probably hate it if they did. Not if it sounded like this. So good.
What a beautiful song.
Same kind of weird, funky ending there.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like it's a little bit more, you can tell what they... Okay. Let me ask you a question. Based on everything we've heard so far, do you think that this album would have a chance to make it in your top 12?
If I cared... If I was basing my top 12 much more heavily on production, absolutely. As in terms of an album that I'm just going to listen to because I like it, probably not.
Right. That's kind of I'm thinking the same thing too. I don't think this album will make it in my top 12 at all. So at this point, I'm like, I don't even know. I'm probably not going to even buy it. We'll see. But
really, why?
The songwriting is like you just said. Like I can't imagine putting this in and listening to it for fun.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily like a. I don't have any way to listen to the Dolby Atmos mix, other than my just like 5.1 surround sound mix. So I don't know if it'd be able to down mix. Like if my PS4 could down mix it. I don't know.
Maybe, but I can let you know when I get it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. I have,
and that's the thing too. Is I suppose that's a really good point. Like I would not have purchased it without the Atmos mix involved.
I think
because I don't see any reason why I would own a CD of like. I care about this so little from a musical, just from like a listening and enjoying perspective that I'm not going to spend money on it when Spotify, if I were so inclined, would do just fine.
Right.
But with that Atmos mix involved, like it's going to be something that I think will be a lot of fun to really sit and pick apart.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be really great demo material too for other people. Exactly. Like, listen to this.
Right.
Shit.
Excuse me. That's absolutely a great point. A great album to demo. Yeah, I was expecting the album to be more fun, I guess, and catchy maybe.
Higher energy.
Not necessarily higher energy. I just expected it to be different, I guess, than what it is. And it's hard for me to even explain how I wanted it to be different.
A lot of his older stuff, like I think once we get to like actually the next song, I think Road to Joy, if it's the same song that I sent you, is going to be much more in line with what you would expect from the whole album, given who Peter Gabriel is and what he's made.
Yeah, and maybe that's
just
part of it. I don't know.
Because I can understand that the sensation of like, I want a music made by a guy who's in a room made out of toys, and he's just like running around and he's just banging on stuff while he runs in circles. Like that seems to be much more of his traditional energy.
Well, and I think I wanted more 80s in this than I'm getting. Yeah. So far we've gotten I would say majority of the album so far has been piano and orchestra, which is great. And I love that. And the way it's recorded makes it just amazing. But I guess that's not what I was expecting. Maybe I should be, but I'm not as familiar. So, all right, Road to Joy.
Now, which one are you going to start with?
I like starting with the dark one. Okay. Because then it gave me something to look forward to.
Shut up.
I don't know. You pick.
Let's do dark one again.
Okay.
Since we only did that once so far.
Yeah.
And because I guess I've already heard both of these, but you've only heard the bright side version of this so far.
Yeah, it was only on my phone, so I don't really count that. But.
Right.
All right, so Dark Side it is. This is Road to Joy Dark Side mix in 3, 2, 1. Just want to point out the Dark Side mix 3 seconds longer. Yeah, this is cool. I'm not going to remember any sort of subtlety in this at all because on my phone you don't get any of this low end, obviously. So all this distortion, I wonder if this will be on the other version. Ooh. Oh. Oh. What is that even?
So eyes, swollen skies, look for anchors, look for tides.
Oh.
Sharp sounds swim around, soak into the brittle ground.
What are half these sounds? Like that.
That was a guitar.
Like weird old drums, like pipes or something.
Yeah. Oh god, that bass though and the kick.
So many days in the throbbing of the darkness. So many days I've been waiting for you back in the wild.
Oh.
Winding up the road to joy.
I mean, this is just so obviously more of like you know, it's different than all the other songs. And I guess this is more what I was expecting, like you said.
Yeah.
That synth whistle thing is interesting.
Mm-hmm. And that bass is just... I was interrupted by those trumpets.
I'm curious what the vocals are going to be here in the other version.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I care for this like style of these vocals. I know it's very Blue October, but I don't know if I care for that as much here. Like, I much prefer when he sings with this voice.
Yeah.
Sounds really good, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like a clearly defined chorus, you know? Oh, the bass.
How in the world does it get that defined in all of this? Like, that bass is... I can hear everything it's doing.
Yeah. I think the distortion really adds to it. Young and old, girl and boy, dance along the road to joy. Picture sharpens in your head, opens up when it's been read. All the things you strain to see can move on in and come to be. Yeah. Let the song breathe a bit. Do a little here. Show your eyes. Yeah, verse 3. That's the way to build belief. Touch my hair, touch my knee. You can wake up every part of me. Get the blood to flow in every nook and cranny. Get the blood to flow from my head to my toes. Get the blood to flow, flowing all around me. Get the blood to flow, put the life in my soul. Back in the world, we're walking down the road to joy. This is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this is just awesome. Just when you think it can't get worse, the mind reveals the universe. Opens up a distant star that gives you straight just who you are. I'm more a dog, you're more a cat. Then we're getting bored of that. Alive again, aboard a snake. Then we jump into the lake. Very cool.
Neat.
Very cool.
Let's do it.
All right.
I forget.
Road to Joy, Bright Side mix now. In 3, 2, 1. Completely different right away.
Mm-hmm. I think I might be right about this one. The little bubbles. That squeaky thing.
I think some of those might be good acoustic guitar harmonics.
So eyes, swollen skies, look for anchors.
Blink bonk. Those guitar plucks are really something.
Swim around, soak into the brittle ground.
The outside vocals are not as prominent here, and I like that a lot more.
So many days held inside
Bass completely different.
so many days there's nothing to do. So many days in the throbbing of the darkness. So many days I've been waiting for you back in the world. Waking up
Now it's funkier.
to joy.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Ooh. That's very Blue October.
The ooze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Didn't get that in the other one that I remember.
Which part?
The cue.
Oh yeah. None of the ooze were there.
No. I mean the note descending,
Sure.
bending.
Is how it goes. I've been listening to
So that wasn't a real bass guitar
is how it goes.
that we were hearing in the other track,
Why not?
because this isn't a real bass guitar. I don't think.
This has much more of like a synthy wub wub to it.
Yeah.
The bass does.
Oh, this is so interesting. So here
It's
for
so
the
funky.
yeah. I don't know if I can definitively say that I like this version better,
Right.
which is really interesting. That's the first time since the first track. I do still think there's
There's just so many froggy bass elements.
yeah.
The engine stops and silence pours, fills the holes and cracks don't close. Young and old, girl and boy, dance along the road to joy. Picture sharpens in your head, opens up when it's been read.
I love the vocals in this one way more.
To see
Maybe not the chorus vocals.
come to be.
That's totally a synth bass.
There is some real bass in there now, though.
Yeah.
Show your eyes, show your teeth. That's the way to build belief. Touch my hair, touch my knee. You can wake up every
Piano, 100%. The guitar, completely different approach for the guitar.
get the blood to flow. In every nook and
No, this version's better, I think.
cranny to flow. From my head to my toes. Get the blood to flow. Flowing all around me. Get the blood to flow. Put the life in my soul. Back in the world. Walking down the road to joy.
I don't know if I think that the chorus is better. It's so crazy that they only do it once. Like they only go through the chorus part once.
Oh yeah. And then the music, it's an instrumental chorus.
Yeah.
Just when you think it can't get worse, the mind reveals the universe. Opens up a distant star that gives you straight just who you are. I'm more a dog, you're more a cat. Then we're getting bored of that. Alive again, about a snake. Then we jump into the lake.
No splash. There it is.
Interesting. Oh, that is interesting. So for the first time, I think that since the first track, I think we're getting elements. There were elements in that mix that I was missing from the Dark Side mix.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think overall the Bright Side mix was more to my liking,
Sure.
as we've been kind of discovering. So that's
I almost want to agree with that.
what?
I think I might agree with that.
You talk about it a little bit. See how talk it out a little.
It was that song from a songwriting perspective, compositionally, was more fun. And I think the Brightside mix leaned into that fun.
Okay.
Or sort of like supplemented it, brought it up.
I agree.
Like there was, but at the same time, like, no. By virtue of it being like, it was funkier and it had so many disco elements, like the falling strings, in the back of the chorus and stuff. And it's like, there's just that was so much more dancey than the Dark Side mix, which was relatively dancey.
Yeah. Yes.
And I just think that so far of all of them, this song has the most dramatic difference between the two versions.
Other than the first track.
Right, probably.
Yeah, because the first track was just like night and day difference.
Sure.
So I think we've had a lot less difference. But there have been a lot of differences too, though.
There's so many differences.
Yeah.
And it may be like on paper, that isn't true for what I'm saying, but this song seems the most dramatic, at least in like the least subtle, but in a way that has only helped the song out. Like it's, I would love it because I understand that these are listed as different mixes, but I'm telling you, there's different instrumentation happening. Some of them have a synth where there isn't one. Some of them have, the snaps doesn't really count as an instrument, but there's like, it's not just relegated to like, if you had these 6 here, you have to have these 6 over here. I think that they're doing different elements for each one, and it's just so neat. And I think that type of song lends itself to being more different than some of the stuff we've heard so far. Because like you were talking about earlier, if you've just got this dude singing with piano and some strings, this really slow, comfy ballad, it's like,
right.
Okay, there's not a lot of room for differentiation. But something like this is the guy in the toy shop that I was talking about.
Yeah.
He's running around banging on everything, and you've got so many options for each different element of the song.
Yeah, and they definitely, the different mixing engineers chose to showcase specifically completely different audio elements. Like I think the guitar, if we just listen to those two songs again, like the same song, but just both mixes, and we were just like, okay, I'm just listen to the guitar. I think that it would be
electric or acoustic?
Any guitar you're hearing.
Okay.
I think that it would be shocking to hear how different the guitars were approached across that entire song.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
So different with the approach.
And the bass. Because the Dark Side version was pretty much just good old-fashioned bass guitar, and the Bright Side had a very prominent element of like funky synth bass and all kinds of different weird like electric, synth basses and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the bass that we heard on the Dark Side version might be the same bass we heard in the Bright Side version, but just maybe without a little bit of some like twist added to it, and then also with distortion.
Well, I think there was two different versions. There was two different bass elements in the Brightside version because you had the regular bass, and
right?
Then you also had like that, that funky sort of froggy bass that was, it was in hard left right at one point, and it was just. I feel like it was an entirely additional mix or an entirely additional instrument in the mix.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So moving forward, that we are now halfway done with the album.
I would rather we wait and record a second part.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Because I want to do both bright and dark for each one.
Okay.
I'm enjoying this quite a bit.
Good. I'm glad you are. I think that that's a good idea. And if you're willing to do it, I'm willing to do it as well. We can do it tomorrow if you want. Well, I was going to say, it might be a while before we get to it.
Okay.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah.
We can discuss that off screen, but this will be coming out as soon as I can get it out because it's relevant today because today is when the day the album came out. So
yeah.
I want to try to get it out as soon as we can. And you're right, 2 hours is good for a video. And I also enjoy the idea of going back and forth. But I'm sure you, like me, are starting to feel fatigued because we've reached our Metallica 3.5 hour.
Yeah, we've been at this for quite a while.
So
yeah, I'd be happy to quit now for sure.
Okay, well, in that case then, thank you everybody for joining us. It is our plan as of right now, and we will definitely do it, to do the second half of this album the same way we've been doing this. Also, Chris, it will give me an opportunity to see whether we're going to be able to use the music or not.
Yes, very true.
So we can approach it slightly differently next time based on how the uploading of this goes. So maybe we will wait until next week to do this. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We're not going to talk now at the end like we normally do about everything overall. We'll wait till the end of the album. But next part, we can just jump right in and start listening. And so thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you next time for part 2 of this really awesome experiment that we're glad to be a part of here on this channel.